Welcome again to Life in the God Lane. I'm Tom West, and this is the couple power verses for the day for February the 3rd, 2022. We're going to start a new study today, and I call this, first of all, I hope you'll subscribe, give me thumbs up, hit the bell so you know every time I put one out every day, and make comments, share this with someone else, could be very helpful to them. And I call this a bunch of noise or love. We're going to go through very slowly and very deliberately through the 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And I want to put as complete as possible a definition on Christian love right from the chapter that talks about it. 1 Corinthians 13 starts in 1 Corinthians 12:31, the last verse of chapter 12. Remember that the original Greek text had no chapter or verse divisions. So let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 31, which is really where the thought process begins for chapter 13. But eagerly desire the greater gifts. And now I will show you the most excellent way. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 is an extensive discussion of spiritual gifts. In fact, the Apostle Paul is trying to fix confusion in the Corinthian church about gifts of grace or gifts of favor, typically called spiritual gifts. Chapter 13 is a major fix on gifts and other things, and he hammers love in 1 Corinthians 13. Let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1. If I speak in the tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. Word tongue in Greek is the word glossa, and it's a synonym for language. It's used interchangeably. All the footnotes will always say that when that word comes up. It's a synonym for language. Just like in the English language, if I say, I speak the English tongue, I speak in the German tongue, I speak in the Greek tongue. It means language. That's how it was used in the Greek language. Tongues first come up in Acts chapter 2, verses 1 through 13, where the word tongue is used 2 times and the word language is used 2 times. They are interchangeable in Greek understanding. And that's what happens in Acts chapter 2, verses 1 through 13. 1 Corinthians 13:1, this is important to understand. It is not a passage about tongues. It's a passage about love. That's the subject matter, grammatically and every other way. God can give people whatever gifts of grace he wants. Speaking in the tongues of men and our angels are some of them, I suppose. For the record, folks, I've been surrendered to Christ now at this point for literally half a century. I've been surrendered to Christ for half a century. And he has never given me the gift of a language that I have not learned. In fact, in Bible college, I had to study real hard to get a little bit of a handle on Greek. And I'm still struggling with that. It's been almost 50 years on that too. He could give that to me if he wanted, because I'm surrendered to him and he can do whatever he wants with me, believe me. But what God has called all of us to, he's called me to this, he's called you to this, he's called everyone who belongs to Christ to this. It is to love, and that's the point of 1 Corinthians chapter 13. We can speak in whatever language or tongue we want, or he calls us to, and if he calls us to it, we should do it. But if we miss love, and this is the point of 1 Corinthians 13:1, if we miss love, we may as well be banging on a garbage can lid with a tire iron. It's useless if we miss love. Love is the word agape in Greek, and it's used 9 times in the 13 verses in 1 Corinthians 13, and it means unconditional love that seeks the best of others and will sacrifice to seek the best for others. Has nothing to do with feelings or emotion. There are other Greek words that have to do with those things. Doesn't have to do with romantic love. There's other Greek words that have to do with that. God showed us love first. He showed his love for us first. And we are supposed to respond to him and others in kind with the love that he showed us first. He defines love for us. How did God show us his love? He came to earth as his son, as God the Word, and took on flesh in Jesus the Messiah. And he sacrificed himself on that old rugged cross to get rid of our sin. He sought our best by sacrificing himself, his body, his blood, his life, to save us. He gave him to save us. That's love. That's love right there. And he calls us to love him and others like he loved us. That's what agape love means. When we surrender to him, he empowers the same kind of love that he had for us to have for him and others. He empowers it when we surrender. Love, folks, love. We're going to cover that deeply the next few days. Bless your heart. I'll see you tomorrow.